Hey guys, so this is a Tesla desk fan. Stefan, you want? I'm doing a little video here.
This is Westinghouse's first production model of the Tesla fan. Came out in '89, had a production run for probably 2 years, 3 years, maybe 4. But they made a lot of these motors. Tesla himself would get, I think, $1 or $2 per motor that was for each one sold. So there are probably 7 or 8 known in museums.
Is there? Do we have any in our museum, or is this the closest we have?
There's like 3 or 4 in the Henry Ford.
Okay.
There's 1 or 2 in the Smithsonian. There's 1 in Serbia at Tesla's birthplace. But it was made by Westinghouse. This was, the small application of Tesla's idea.
So you guys have seen Bill Fanum in my previous videos, who is, wouldn't you say, Stefan, probably the best at fixing anything?
There's no one else that fixes motors like Bill.
And the way you know this is he's being trusted to work on a Tesla. That's how you know. You don't let me or anybody. I'm not saying I suck, but you don't let me near a Tesla. You let somebody like Bill. So Bill's got this test rig here. I'll make sure I get that on camera.
Bill has worked magic on motors for me and many other people that people said, oh, it can't be done. And without even
absolutely,
he's able to find the faults.
Absolutely.
So look at that construction. That is, isn't that shaded pole or not?
I don't think so.
I don't think maybe there are no shading poles, because I don't see any.
Well, we got almost like a starting winding right here. See? Mains and startings. We'll get into it a little bit further and see what's going on.
So I just want to talk about, for the video, his test rig here. It's like I use, where you have it wired in series with a light bulb, but instead of a light bulb, he's got a 600 watt heating coil, and then he's got a toggle switch there that you can either go through the heating coil, direct power, or off. So I need to build something like that.
You should post this on YouTube.
I'm going to.
Send me a link to it.
I sure will do that. I should have brought a camera stand, because I'm going to get tired of holding this forever, but I don't want to miss anything here. How often do you get to see somebody working on a Tesla?
Look at the construction.
Wow,
I mean, it's almost in some ways got the mica. Is it that mica on it or not?
Don't drop it.
Looks like there's some mica beneath the banding around the windings. It's like mica insulation. But basically what he did here, this is a wound rotor. It's wound, it'd be the same circuit as like a squirrel cage rotor. Now look at it, you just got your complete circuit. But instead of having just the individual bars, you just wrap turns of wires. So you get more voltage in this winding and less current. And I can see where this would work.
Have you seen many motors that have that construction?
No.
So you want to narrate what you're doing, Bill, for the people that might be watching and wanting to learn how to work on motors for themselves?
Well,
not that a Tesla is a good starting motor, but
Right now I'm looking for pull, How are these poles? Are they good? What's going on here?
So I've done this before, and Bill's done this for me before, where he just powers it up, and then he puts a socket wrench or a nut driver or something to see if each pole is equal, or if any of them are dead. I'm going to get over here, Metal Pete, because...
these that I perceive as being starting winding, I believe, might be open somewhere. And if we look, there's some hair fine wire. I think we're going to find an open somewhere. There's one jumper that appears to be intact.
Hey, Rick Huckabee. Hey, Rick. This is our other motor guru.
That's true. I think I got some footage of him rewinding motors, or at least
He apprenticed under Sidney Lamb and learned how to...
Oh, that's shit.
Look at this. This is Tesla's.
No, I don't believe it to be. Because these wires come down and they go right to the power supply. Oh, well, let's do this.
Still really good shape for...
Stefan, what are you?
You said what, 1898?
1888, 89.
Daddy,
This was the earliest induction motor.
broke it?
You broke it?
That's fine. Still works.
he tried to stick me up earlier. He put it to my head and said, "Give me your money."
Oh my god.
You're fine. Keep these.
I can fix this.
See, if he would have said, "Give me your fans," I would have thought like father, like son.
Daddy, keep it for our place.
All right. Just keep it, buddy.
So the start windings are in the circuit, huh?
Yeah.
Those hold the whole thing together.
Let's do this.
It's amazing how the world has changed. I think there's now, I'm counting, what, 4 cameras out?
So we think this was 128 years ago that an induction motor was made. That's crazy.
I caught bits and pieces of your lecture the other day. I had no idea that there were patents as early as the 1850s.
Yeah, the Stein fan, ceiling fan. I know you're a ceiling fan
I
guy.
am.
Was 1854. It was 853 or 54. Louis Stein in New York City. I don't know if it was made because, you know, access to power supplies was really limited.
Yeah.
You would have had to have a lot of batteries to run that small motor. And telegraphs were pretty much the only major electrical thing in use at that point in time. Just because. Yeah, Mace.
What year did Westinghouse get that Hoover Dam?
Oh, you mean the Niagara Falls? I think it was given.
yeah,
I mean, it was
Niagara.
finished at parts of it in '94, but I think they got the contract around '92, '91, and they beat out GE,
Yeah. Yeah. That
who had
is,
at that point gone on to do AC stuff.
Daddy,
Westinghouse was
where's
very
your
lucky.
gun?
What?
Where's the gun?
The toy gun's right there, bud.
Okay.
Don't get Mama seeing this on YouTube. You're not supposed to be playing with toy guns.
Ooh. We'll blur his face. No one will know who it is.
Okay. Well, he knows my son. You'll know it's my son.
You gonna rewind that one, Rick?
No.
No.
Phone.
No, you can keep playing. We're
No,
looking at
look,
this.
there's no kids.
Well, there's a motor for you to see how real work happens. This gets really hot.
Children.
Yeah, if you don't do your chores, your next chore job will be to hold that while he works on it.
Oh, we have circuit through our windings. That's a good sign.
Man, you got all that stuff loaded up and hauled back already?
No, I owe it to some other very kind folks who
Had
helped
some
me.
help? Good.
Yeah. Phone.
No,
Phone.
later.
Phone.
The obsession of young people today.
Phone.
Yeah.
Phone.
Oh, I had to put my daughter on punishment for no electronics, no phone, tablet, computer, TV for like a day.
Where?
That's like child abuse, isn't it?
You'd
your
think.
Kid, your kids.
Yeah, for my daughter, she hadn't done her chores for a week, so I said, "You're not getting any electronics until a whole week's worth of chores is
That's what
done."
we do for him.
If she had the number to Child Protective Services, she would have called.
Yeah. Yeah, it's hot. It's still
Hauled in
hot.
for child abuse. Take away their.
I mean, there's a lot of educational purpose in those, but there's also a lot of just the same farting around that we did with, you know, toys and video games and whatever else. You know, some of it's just, you know. I wish they liked reading.
Steak. We're gonna have a steak dinner. Yes.
Oh, that's what the meal is tonight?
I would hope it is. It's a banquet. It better be.
I might stick around if it's steak.
I think it is. I'm sticking around.
The chicken last night was pretty good.
I thought it was. They had the same chicken at lunch today.
No, it wasn't the same. They had a different sauce on. I didn't like it nearly as much.
Seemed like it.
This is wrapped around, you know, typically the opposite way that you would wire a post. But I'm not changing anything, you know?
Yeah.
I'm not going to say this is wrong. This is the way they did it back
They're not
then.
going with the threads. They're going against the threads.
Right.
Both of them. Like, no, the other one's
That
with the
was right,
threads.
this one's
Yeah.
wrong, but that's the way it was, so we're leaving it that way because it might have some historical significance.
You go sit over there, but wait, 'cause
So, are you at liberty to tell us where you got this and how much, or is that
I don't
G15
wanna talk
classified?
about how much, but,
That's how you know it was a lot.
I hear you.
well, you know, there are other fans that have sold for a lot, but I was very, very lucky. I sold a lot of stuff to get this. This was a bit of a sacrifice to get. I sold dozens of fans so that I would have the chance to acquire this. Some friends of mine in Austria got it. It was made here in the U.S. I think it came out of initially Kentucky or Tennessee, and there was like a physics professor or someone who collected some odds and ends, including this, which to most people doesn't look like an 1889 motor.
So Bill, you're gonna try to run it?
Newer.
That's the idea.
But anyway, a fan
You
collector
think
saw it on
it's
eBay,
Huh?
a dealer,
You think it's
bought
okay?
it, sold
I
it
think
to
it's gonna
these
work.
folks in Austria, who then sold it to me.
Bill, we don't have a little bit of oil for that, you know?
Somebody's got some oil somewhere.
Hey, if any of you guys see Mike Marin, he left his phone charger over on the table.
He was loading up his truck outside not too long
No,
ago.
it's already moved out.
Okay.
Yeah, but anyway, I didn't want to move it because I thought he'll come back in and go. Where is it?
Yeah, my phone charger's still over there. I didn't touch it because somebody else was using it, so didn't want to deprive them of the opportunity.
In the midst of all this running around while moving and trying to help host fanfare, it's nice to be able to sit down with a master like this. And
Yeah.
You know, another thing is like Sydney is really good, but at his age, he really doesn't like to touch things that are that valuable, you know? And I don't blame him sometimes.
I don't think at any age I like to touch things that are that valuable, but
He's worked, he had that deal motor ended up in another collection in Texas that he fixed. I had two of them, and he got that running. Do you remember with the jumpers on the
Yeah.
commutator? Yeah.
That had
Field seal.
several opens in the armature, and what we did was just basically solder the bars together on the open windings, because you meant rewinding that armature, and you don't want to destroy this armature. The winding is just too cool.
So how much-
running it under a no-load circumstances, it'd be just fine with a few coils missing. Won't hurt anything.
I was just about to ask about how much loss of power did you have from.
Oh, I'm sure there's probably a 25% loss of power, but you're not going to run it to make it work, so
I think this thing right here was rated as 1/8 horsepower.
that's a lot for the size of it.
Yeah. Now, in all the
1/10 maybe. You think it would be closer to a tenth?
I think more closer to a tenth. I like all the heat sinks on the side.
Yeah, it's really cool looking. I was gonna say, in all the years I've known Bill, I've never seen him intimidated by working on anything, no matter how valuable. Are you scared inside, Bill, and just not laying it on, or are you?
No, he just
He's
likes
in the moment enjoying the process.
Yeah, he-
Yeah. I've never seen him be like, "This thing is so valuable, I better not mess it up." And I think part of it is the trust that everybody has in Bill. They know that if he does mess it up, it was destined to get messed up.
Well, I don't think he's messed anything up ever.
Probably not.
I remember the first time you brought that fan home. I forget whose was it.
It's a Tesla from 1889.
It was all in pieces.
Oh, that Meston?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What? Oh,
Yes, sir.
He tried to mess in him in pieces and put it together?
It belonged to
Yeah.
whose was it? I forget.
Dunaway's?
This is Stefan's fan. You should ask
It was
him.
John
This is
Wilkes.
Reese. You met Reese before?
And I
Where'd he
brought
go?
it home.
Stefan, good to meet you.
And
He was the kid that was on Learning Channel, the first fan collection.
Oh, very cool. Well, it's Tesla's first induction motor that was sold commercially in '89. I think there's oil in it, actually. I'm looking at it. I think I oiled it at one point. Powerful? We don't know. We'll see.
This will be powered up for the very first time if Bill can get it working.
So majestic watching him blow it.
I agree.
We would all agree.
That's a very good way to describe it.
Majestic.
Yes.
That's a term I use a lot.
Well, now you're taking some of the coolness out of the fact that you said it.
That one's on a postage stamp. That's the fan motor.
Yeah, I heard you say that before. I think I've seen that stamp. That's really cool. I wish that noise wasn't in the background.
Mason.
Whose kid is that?
That's my kid.
I know, that's why it was so funny.
Yeah.
I got two kids, but that's my son. Hey, no, go back further, please, bud.
Or just turn
Annoying
it down.
orange is annoying. A little tight still, right?
Yeah.
Can you loosen the end bells just enough that it'll spin free, and at least for testing purposes?
Is there a slight bend in the...
In the shop.
Well, typically in a professional setting in a motor repair shop, it would be hit with a rubber mallet to line everything up.
That's better.
but we're not going to go down that road.
Yeah.
We'll put the blade on it and see how she does.
I'm not gonna lie. I have a couple of fans somewhere.
Let's connect that starting winding again and see what happens.
I have a couple fans somewhere or another that might have end bells just a little bit loose.
Tried, but it didn't work before.
You get to light up.
Yeah, we got her lined up.
You think the heater is just too much resistance?
No.
Okay. It's glowing pretty hot.
Yeah, it might just be. Well, let's do this. You sure this is 110?
I am not. It could be 52.
Looking at the size of the wire in it, I think it's a lower voltage than a
I've
110.
got 52.
No information on it though.
None. No tags, nothing. They sold them in 52. They sold them in 110. Possibly even 220.
They have a variant with 50.
Any variacs around?
Someone sold in the auction. I don't know who bought it.
Yeah.
Did you bring a variac or yet?
No, I didn't bring one.
There's one sitting right over there. Probably
Let's lightly grab it.
Right.
Grab it.
Very discreetly.
Yeah, I mean, because we're looking at like number 16 wire that this thing is wound with. You know, that's telling me low voltage,
52 volts probably.
possibly. Because that would be the equivalent of a number 19 wire if it was wound, you know, 110. And I could see for this size of motor and that horsepower, 19 would be about right.
Right.
I mean,
It's less voltage.
Yeah, less voltage, more current.
is it possible this is just so early that the rules of what size wire don't apply?
It's possible. I'm sure there's some of that in there that
Yeah.
they overbuilt everything back in the day where the wire was always heavier.
Is there any way to know, other than trial and error, is there any way to know whether it's 52, 110, or 220?
Nope, just turn the voltage up. That's all we can do.
There you go, Bill.
Okay.
That's a nice variac.
Yeah, it looks like he's got this set up for DC on this socket.
DC only, it says.
All right, well, let's do this.
So will you still be using that, going through that resistor or not? No?
No.
Well, you could put that kilowatt in there, right? Run it through there and see how much you're...
Well, on the lower input, I could have put it over here because the kilowatt needs 110 volt to run properly.
For those watching who don't know, a kilowatt is a wattage meter as opposed to an amperage meter. We talked the other day about the difference between, measuring watts and measuring amps.
That'll measure amps too.
Sounds like it's just alignment problem there.
Well, when I look at this, 3.46, 3.63, I see the current draw changing as I move the rotor. So now I'm at 3.66. Now I can bring it around here. I'm going down to 3.36. And it makes me concerned that we don't have something wrong with that armature that's in there, or rotor, or whatever you want to call it.
So you think the feel with the standers all good, but it's a rotor that's
Right. I think we just
What about if the bearings are worn or anything?
they're fine. Or we'd know. We'd have it would be buzzing really loud if that was the case. Let's get back in there and take a look at that. As you saw how the rotor just wanted to stop in a certain area, and it had like a magnetic pull to here. And if I went the other way, it would snap back. You know, it just wants to pull to a certain area. And that's usually an indicator of a rotor problem. But this is wound completely different. We're going to have to study it a little bit, get an idea what they did.
Thank God, whatever that is, seems like it's getting quieter.
That's annoying orange. He's loving it.
It's meant to be annoying.
Yeah.
Us adults.
At that age, annoying works.
Yeah.
Try.
Is that a solder joint?
Yeah.
Doesn't look like there's a whole lot that could go wrong with that.
No. I'm just studying the hookup of it right now.
Real quick while he's studying, what's that other one over there, Stefan?
That's 93, 94 era.
1893, 94, just in case anybody didn't catch that. Not 19.
Westinghouse AC fan motor, but it's a series wound. So although Westinghouse brought out the early induction motor, the first sold commercially in the U.S., they were still doing series wound motors 3-4 years later because they're probably simpler and smaller to build at that point.
Does it run?
Pretty sure that one does run without much problem.
What we really need is a growler right now.
Oh, I have one put away somewhere. I don't know where it is. Bill Nagler had a couple, too.
Oh, what? What's that?
Basically an armature tester.
Use it on starter motors and generators and auto.
So what does it do?
Well, it's almost like the primary of a transformer, the
Okay.
armature being the secondary, and you can induce a charge in here. You see we've got like 4 groups of coils.
Right.
And if I throw a charge into one, I'd probably feel some pull up here, you know. How this armature would test, you know, I'm not, you know, we're gonna have to experiment to find out. But there's the way it feels when I try to turn it in there, it almost tells me there's something wrong with it.
So there's an open or something somewhere?
I'm thinking possibly, you know, or it could even be shorted in 2 places to the frame, which is another thing we can look at. I want to get on the shaft where it's not. Excuse me. Not a machine surface. I mean a bearing surface. Nothing's grounded. That's good. Or wait a minute, we don't have power over here anymore. With the resistor, I gotta get that circuit.
So what you're doing, if I understand correctly, you're basically powering up the heater and just going through that.
Yeah.
So instead of using a continuity tester, he's using the heater as a continuity tester.
Yeah, we'll use the heater as kind of a tester basically.
So he puts it
That's a
together.
good sign, nothing's grounded. The odd thing I see is, look at this. We have two soldered connections, one there, okay? See what I'm talking about?
Yes.
We have one here. And either what they did when they wound this at the factory was they finished one coil and they went right directly to the next, or there's a connection broke off. I don't think there's one broke off or missing because, you know, we would see one of the wires at this point would be broke somewhere, and that's not the case. Yeah, I think that we're at the point right now where we need to get a growler, and it's not happening today.
No, that's fine.
But it's going to happen.
It's going to, for sure. I'll be.
So here's my question: you get it, you find the open, then how do you, what's the proper way to fix something like this? Because it's, you know, different than fixing a motor from 10 years ago or 20 years ago.
Depends on where the open is, because we don't want to have to destroy the look of this.
Right.
You know, you don't want new wire in here. You want to keep it looking the same way. And, you know, you'll cross that bridge when you get to it. And that's a matter of, it might be one turn that has to, you know, you have to solder something in, splice it down here, splice it again down here. You know, you got to find out where the open is, first of all. And we'll start with a growler.
Well, we do that, for sure.
If that happens at a motor clinic, and I am there, which I would have every intention of being if I was in town, then I will capture that on video as well. So anybody watching this video wondering how this saga ends, you know, we'll be able to see the next installment. This is a, you know, to be continued at the bottom of the screen. So, yeah, I mean, I don't.
Pleasure.
Well, the filming is the main part.
This one runs, I think. Do you want to show one that runs?
I do. Let me stop this and start over.